exit.
I got it. Thank you for the reminder, both of you.
All right, so it's 6:01. We'll call the meeting of the Mansfield Economic Development Commission to order. I don't see anyone here from the public, but if there is any public comment, now would be the appropriate time for that. Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of the minutes. Attached in our packet was the minutes from our July meeting, I think.
Yeah.
Want to take a second to refresh your memory, and then I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes. Oh, I think that was Valessa.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Valessa made the motion. I think I heard Lane second it. So is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye or raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Unanimously approved. All right, we're making good time here, guys. This is great. We'll move right into reports. Do we have any member updates for this meeting? Okay, then we'll move right into staff updates and we'll turn it over to Cynthia.
Great. I don't have too many. Just wanted to point to an article that was in the packet. Actually, the press release from Governor Lamont back in August about the hospitality grants that were out there. And I think this is the second time based on repercussions of COVID that they have released funds directly to businesses under certain qualifications. So this is not an application process through the state or through any local entity. So so that was good news, because we know that you know, there's still issues in the hospitality industry. So I did just want to point to that. The other piece is our 4-town initiative with Bolton, Coventry, and Tolland. We recently brought on Josh Hull, who is a UConn public policy intern. So he'll be working with our team until May. He actually will rotate between all 4 towns. So I was the guinea pig. I had him last week, and he's great. So he's going to help us a lot. And Nancy will see him as part of the steering committee next week. So one of our big
Cynthia had to deal with 2 Joshes last week. It was torture.
No, it's good. It's all good. The biggest initiative that, well, not the biggest, but one of the initiatives we're working on is creating logos and branding for the region. And so we're working with our consultant team, Dornenberg Kallenbach, and we will be sending out a survey, not next week, but the week after, to get some feedback on the logos and branding. And then we will bring 2 or so to the steering committee to make a final decision. So we'll be doing some social media pushes, some press release. So stay tuned for that and spread the word so that we can get input. I think that's all that I had, unless anybody has any questions. I think most other things are covered under our agenda.
Cynthia, I just have a question. Is the new intern doing the logo and branding? Is that what he's doing?
No, we hired a firm out of Bloomfield,
Okay.
DKA Dornenberg Kallenbach. So yeah, he'll help us facilitate, but he's not doing the actual work.
Okay. Okay.
And this is, just to be clear, it's for the 4-town initiative, not rebranding the town.
Yes, thank you, Steve. And I'm glad you brought that up, because when we got a draft, actually Kathleen in our office suggested that we make that very clear. Which that will be in the survey in the cover note.
Great. All right. So I think, is that it for staff updates?
Yes.
Great. Has anyone noticed any business openings or closings since we met last?
I think I've got a whole list of them.
Oh, Josh, hit us with it.
Yes. Jefferson Fry has opened
Mhm.
in downtown stores on August 31st. I believe the day was the day they opened in the former location of Husky Pizza over by Stores Automotive. And I also have that Chase Bank is scheduled to open in winter 2022 in the former Brugger's Bagels Jamba Juice location. And Cynthia told me about Ciencia as well. And that is a research and development company.
Yeah, they are going to be renting office space in, trying to think, Steve, I'm trying to remember if it's down in
Apparently
It's
it's
on 32
215.
across from the drive-in.
thank
Oh, the
you.
drive-in, right. I have some relocations as well that we've started keeping track of. Bagel Zone Cafe and Grill, which had been in the Holiday Mall complex, and we have confirmed that they are moving into the Brothers Deli space in University Plaza in the downtown. Do we know when?
I don't think we have a confirmation when. I know that Kathleen saw Sue, the owner, there a week or two ago, so she's at least poking around the site, so.
Yeah, and I think they have
Okay.
Bagel Zone coming soon signs over there. So
I thought I saw maybe online it was October 1st.
Oh, wow, okay, that's good, Steve, okay.
Yeah, I saw something similar.
yeah. I also have that Domino's has been approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission to move to space in 650 Middle Turnpike at the Four Corners. So that's moving from the Stores Commons complex to the Four Corners. Mansfield Academy of Dance will be moving from Marrow Road to 1768 Stores Road in the former Nature's Medicine space. Have they already moved, or are they in the
The
process?
sign's up.
The sign is
Okay.
there.
Oh, the sign is there, okay.
Yeah. And Weichert Realtors, it looks like already moved sometime over the summer. Had been at Holiday Mall again and moved to Ledgebrook Drive over by the Eastbrook Mall. And I have that they may want to move back to the area once the standard is up and running. And I just also wanted to mention briefly that I believe at the last meeting, which was back in July, I had stated that I was unsure whether or not Alex Celestri had sold the Chiropractic Health Center, and I had sent them an email to confirm, and the very next day I heard back and they confirmed that he had. So
That's the one on Dog Lane.
that's the one on 195.
Yeah.
Chiropractic.
Gotcha.
Yes. And I believe Sherry Erickson is the chiropractor he sold it to.
Okay.
Anything
Isn't
else?
there something also in the old Toasted location now? Something moved in there? Like another bubble tea place, I think.
Oh, yeah, they, Whale Tea,
Whale tea?
yeah, yeah, they've
around
been there for a little while,
for,
Lane, sorry, we
Okay.
may have missed
Yeah.
So I'm
that
just
in the
noticing
update,
it.
but, yeah.
Kristen?
There's also a new floral design business called Rooted Dreams that opened recently. And I know it doesn't have a storefront, but I do know that it's a registered small business within Mansfield now.
Nice.
Do you
Where
have
is
their
that?
contact information, Kristen?
I do have contact information, Cynthia, and I'm happy to send that to you.
That'd be great, so we can get them on our business list, thank you.
Sure. You're welcome.
Did you say where that was?
Yeah, where is that?
Right. Right now, I believe she's running it out of her home.
Cool.
Anybody know what's happening with the rest of the businesses that are in Holiday Mall?
I heard that Dick's is
Closing.
closing. The accountant is going to be relocating, Borgita and Company. Weichert already relocated. Attorney Poitras, I think, is relocating as well. And then I haven't heard about the other tenant.
Is the canine place moving? Because I was just told by a customer that they just installed a new pool. So I find it funny that they would install a new pool for the dogs and now they have to move.
My understanding was when, and this goes back a little bit, a couple of years, but my understanding when they leased it at the beginning, and I wasn't part of it at all, but when we talked about this a couple of years ago, they understood that the property was going to be redeveloped and it would be a temporary type thing. So I don't know when the pool went in, but supposedly they were made aware of the fact that this was all in process when they started.
Right.
So hopefully they factored that in.
I hope so too. I just, like I said, I had a customer tell me last week that they just installed a new pool and I was like, well, aren't they moving soon? Like, where are they going? I didn't know. So I thought that was part of the redevelopment project itself.
It is.
Okay.
Steve, can you just go back real quick? I just want to make sure for Josh's notes, the two that you mentioned, was it the mortgage company? Because I talked to him a couple of months ago.
Oh, I haven't spoken to them. I was talking about the accountant,
The
Morgan
accountant.
Company. Yep.
Is that the name of the accountant that you
No,
just
his
said?
name's
Or
Aaron Johnson. He's with Borgita and Company.
Aaron Johnson?
Yep.
Okay.
Was there a third one or was that, it was the accountant and Poitras and was there something else?
Those are the only two that I've spoken
Okay.
with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the accountant and who else?
Attorney Dennis Poitras.
Okay. And this is being recorded so I can listen back and make sure I got everything. So I think we're good.
All right. Any other question, any other updates? Or that was a pretty robust,
Mhm.
all right, excellent. So we'll move on to housing update. And I believe Jennifer provided that to us by email. Is there anything you want to say about that, Cynthia, or did you happen to talk to her about that?
I did talk to her the end of last week, but mainly on the Champagne issue, and we can bring that up under subcommittees if you want, Steve, since it's not
Sure.
housing.
Yep.
Yeah, so there are several, the only thing that's not in here, there are several pre-applications that are coming in on Middle Turnpike. So as some of you probably know, the Planning and Zoning Commission allows people now to come in with no restrictions with pre-applications. So, you know, nothing there's no decisions made, it's just coming in and chatting informally. So those, I think, may be on the agenda for Monday night. But, and you see in here, Inland Wetlands is continuing their public hearing on the development at Four Corners between Nancy's Place and the Standard. And I think we've talked about that in the past. So that's about 114 townhouse style apartments, 12,000 square feet of retail restaurant space, the proposal, I should say.
Great.
And on,
All right.
let me real quick, Steve, on the neighborhood stabilization plan kicking off in the fall, there will be, I'm sure, some outreach as part of that process. So we'll keep you all updated. I'm sure they'll do some community forums, that kind of thing. When, I don't know, Jennifer's, you know, in charge of that project, but we'll keep that, our eyes on that too.
And that was with respect to Goodwin and the fact that it's going to be closing shortly.
Yeah, that whole corridor there, that's, you know, kind of, you know, a lot of student housing on that road, but there's a lot of opportunities there, like you said, Steve, with Goodwin and having public infrastructure. So trying to develop more of a plan for that neighborhood going forward.
All righty. We have our calendar in there if anyone has any questions about that. And then I guess we'll move straight on into our discussion items. The first of which is a co-working space tour, which Josh has worked diligently to schedule for just about 2 weeks from now, September 28th in West Hartford. Thank you to everyone who's able to attend. It looks like it should be the vast majority of us, which is exciting. I don't know if Cynthia or Josh, if there's anything you want to say about it, or we'll just wait and see how it goes.
Yeah, I think,
mean,
was it 5 commission members that we'd had RSVP?
yeah, I'm trying to, so Nancy, I think we had Nancy,
I think Kristen,
Steve, Kristen,
Lane.
Anthony,
Okay.
Lane, were you on that? Okay. Valessa, were you going? No. Brian, were you going?
Yes, I had planned on attending. I think I RSVP'd.
Okay, we just want to make sure because
Yeah.
she sent the invite out, so we just want to be clear, so. But we, if people want to carpool, let each other know, just let people do whatever they want on their own.
And we will be calling a special meeting for that.
Because we'll have a quorum of the EDC, basically.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Okay. Great.
that should be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so if anyone, now that we all know who's going, should you want to try to carpool, feel free to reach out to others and be eco-friendly, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
If you
moving
want to
on.
do carpool karaoke, you should let people know as well.
Let us know ahead of time, because I might put you in another car.
Nancy's in. I want to drive in the orange Jeep. That thing looks pretty cool. All right. Next on the agenda is an update on the ARPA Local Business Relief Fund program. I know Cynthia's been working on this one, so Cynthia, I'll let you take that.
Sure, yeah, so just as a brief update, I think I put something in the email too, but we did receive 24 applications. 2 were incomplete and 3 were deemed ineligible per the criteria. But 19 were approved for funding for a total of about $158,000. And right now I'm working with the town finance department on grant agreements. And most of them have been turned in. I think we're waiting on 2 to be turned in, and then finance will start the process of sending out checks or sending checks in electronically. So was it Monday night, Brian? At the council meeting?
Yeah, Monday night was the council meeting.
So Monday night, the council approved a second round because we do have some dollars left over from the 370,000. And then also what was added was nonprofits. So we'll be working on, after the festival, getting out applications again. So it does not preclude, so it's open to businesses again. And businesses that receive funding could probably apply again if they want to. They'd probably be a little lower on the totem pole. But anyway, that's the plan, is to have a month for people to respond as we did last time. Do the same solicitation process, press, social media, direct contact to our Mansfield business list. I do need to get a pretty good nonprofit list, so I haven't checked with Pat Schneider, Director of Human Services, but if anybody has any type of list, if they want to send it to me, so we can make sure that they are notified during the process.
Now, the Mansfield Downtown Partnership would not be eligible for any money, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We weren't
I don't have-
eligible for any money even during the whole, because we get funded partly by the government. We weren't allowed.
just, I'm sure it would be on any nonprofit list you get, but there seemed to be a lot of interest from daycares on that first round. It'd be great to include them all. My new world.
Yeah, right. That's right. Well, I want to thank Lane and Valessa, who served on the advisory group with some other folks, and it was, you know, quite a process. So I want to thank them for all their input and work.
Lane or Valessa, anything you want to say about it, or any insights we can glean from your experience?
I'm glad they decided to go with a second round. I think that was a good call, and also to add the nonprofits.
Completely agree. In terms of process, it was seamlessly orchestrated and painless. And it was interesting and fun to sort of learn more about the businesses in the town. So certainly worth doing. And I'm glad to hear there's another round.
Great, awesome. Well, thank you both for your help on that one. All right, next,
There's another round as well.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, I'm glad to hear that there's another round as well, because there's a lot of extra money there that businesses can actually use.
Yeah.
You know? It
Are we,
baffles me that people did not apply.
are we notifying the businesses the same way as last time, like social media, or how are we letting people know there's a second round?
Yeah, so we'll send it out, you know, directly to our list again, to our full list in town. We'll do social media, press release. Margaret, with the town's communications coordinator, she'll send something out as well. So we'll do, you know, pretty full court press.
Great.
And word of mouth too. So please, you know, send it to you all once it's out, if you want to forward it on to your friends and colleagues.
Yep.
Great, awesome, thank you. Next on the agenda is the promotion of arts in Mansfield update. And this was something I think Brian started as an idea probably, well, many months ago, and we've been working on ever since. But Brian and Cynthia and I met with the Arts Advisory Committee on Tuesday of this week and had a very productive meeting, I thought. We kind of let them know that we were interested in seeing some type of art event in the downtown space so that we could bring more people downtown, but also support our local artists, that we had not necessarily set a date or even what type of event we were trying to hold. We just wanted to kind of kick it over to them to know that we had a desire to see something art related down there and just see what they had for ideas. And they came back to us and said they thought the weekend before graduation, which is like that first or second couple of days in May, would be great because it would be while UConn's still around. And then we talked kind of about a possibly multimodal type festival where you would have people selling art, people showcasing art, maybe you know, some art projects that kids could do to engage them, and then maybe some type of performances. They were a little leery about live music because a lot of the artists kind of want to tell their story about their art, and it doesn't really lend itself if you have a lot of loud music. But maybe some type of performing art, maybe we get like, you know, MAD to come in and do something, or some of the schools, or, you know, it's something that we've talked about before as an EDC. Anytime you can kind of loop in the families, you get a lot more people in attendance. So, but Brian, I don't know if you have anything you want to add, kind of your thoughts on how it went.
Yeah, I think it went very well. And, you know, the fact that they're thinking about doing it weekend before graduation is perfect timing. I think we also discussed trying to spread out the event amongst the downtown so we can get people walking through the downtown and maybe patronizing the businesses that way, spreading out the event a little bit.
Right, so it's not just on the square, it'd be on the square and then kind of down Wilbur Crossway or whatever.
Right, and try to get some families and, community members into the downtown too would be very helpful.
We also briefly touched base with them on the window painting, trying to activate some of the storefronts or showcase some artwork in the storefront. And they said they would kind of noodle that over and come up with some ideas on how we might pull that off. I told them we didn't necessarily have a fixed plan in mind. We weren't trying to paint it necessarily for any particular schedule. One of the people in the meeting had brought up, we're trying to do this for like Halloween or for Thanksgiving or for Christmas. And I said, if you want to get kids involved, like middle school or high school kids, and you want to do a new one each time for each holiday or whatever, that's fine with us. Or even if it's like one painting that lasts 6 months, we're very flexible. We just want to kind of see some more engagement. And I let them know that we're there to try to facilitate this, and they can come up with the best ideas because they'll be way better than we are at it. So any questions or thoughts or
Yeah,
anything on that?
do you want me to talk at all about the Evergreen Walk murals? Because I
Oh,
talked
yeah.
yeah, I think since the last time we had an EDC meeting, I talked to Nicole Powell from Evergreen Walk about their recent mural project, and which Steve noticed the last time you were there, I believe. And I can follow up with more details if anyone is interested, but I recall her saying that they were following a loose spring and summer theme with these murals. They were created through Rise Up for Arts, which is the nonprofit art collective that also did the Martin Luther King mural that's over by the community center. So the partnership has worked with them before, I believe. And yeah, I think the plan is to leave them up for a year or so in the storefronts that are still vacant, and then when it's been a year, reevaluate whether people are engaged with them and whether to leave them up. I recall her also saying that they'd held a contest where the public could vote on which their favorite murals were, and the artists who created the top 3 were rewarded somehow. And Cynthia can let me know if there are any other details from that you think are relevant.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I would say is that, so Josh did some great research on Evergreen Walk, and then sort of on a parallel path, we've been talking to the School of Fine Arts, which I'm going to mention at another meeting, to try to see if they could do something, whether it's painting on the outside or doing some type of adding vibrancy inside the storefronts that you can see from the outside. So we had hoped that a class might take that on, and we had spoken to the dean of the School of Fine Arts, and then so we haven't heard back. So we're going to try again after the festival, and then after that we may go the route that Josh was suggesting. We have approval from the property owners to do so. We just have to be careful not to disrupt any leasing signs that they'll want to still be prevalent, on the windows. So
can we reach out to the E.O. Smith students as well that are artists that want to, engage in art? Like, that's my feeling. Like, if UConn doesn't want to get back to you and the fine arts doesn't want to get back, reach out to the younger kids, because they're always eager to do their art.
So no, that's a good idea, Nancy. And we did actually, the partnership board also talked about E.O. Smith. So we have had E.O. Smith do some windows in front of Nash Zimmer. We had them do it for Poetry Month. We had them do it for Winter Welcome, I think 2 years ago. It's a little more, at least, and I don't know if this is EO saying this or this is just the way it works, but it was sort of it was led by some of the art teachers. So there was some oversight, I guess I would say. So it wasn't a free for all. But it's something we can we can definitely pursue.
Yeah.
Because you're right, there's a lot of talent over there.
There's a lot of talent, and I just think that, you know, if the other college kids don't want to do it, then let the younger kids do it because they'll get their name out there as well.
Yeah, we did also do a solicitation through the Arts Advisory Committee and also through Open Studios to see
Yeah,
if,
that's
you know, any of the
cool.
fine artists, so to speak, wanted to do it, and we really didn't get any feedback. I think we got one person that does interior design that was interested. So we also didn't offer any type of stipend until later in the process. So I think there's a lot of different ways to attack this. We just have to make some progress.
It was interesting when we were in the meeting with the Arts Advisory Committee earlier this week, because they had guidelines set up for what was acceptable and what was not like squashing free speech, but, you know, no nudity, no that type of a thing. So they had already been through that kind of process for what gets displayed in the display cases in the community center and elsewhere. So it'd be great if we could kind of loop them in and let them kind of run with this.
Yeah.
Just say, hey, look, you know, we have some money. Can you find the people to do it? I think it'd be cool if we, you know, maybe went with like we have an event downtown, a trick or treat. If we got, you know, people to come in and paint windows the week or two before Halloween and left it up for a few weeks, and then had it come back, had different people come back around Christmas before our winter welcome, and did some type of like winter theme windows just to kind of keep them current. Might be kind of nice. And I don't know, it'd be interesting to see. So we're going to continue to stay in touch with the Arts Advisory Committee. We left it with them. They're going to kind of think about what might work best, not only for the windows, but also for the event. And then we're going to see what kind of spaces we can figure out and layouts for what might be available in terms of space in the downtown. And then we'll get back together again in a month or so and see where we're both at. So, all right. Next on our agenda is prepare for business outreach for winter. Prepare for business outreach for winter welcome. So Cynthia, I'm guessing this is where you'd like us to reach out to some businesses to try to include them in winter welcome.
Yeah, so, you know, Denise has been consumed with the festival a week from Saturday, but she'll start doing some outreach on winter welcome after next week. And, you know, at Kristen's suggestion, and I think Chiaku, when she was on the commission, wanting to get businesses more involved. And I know, Kristen, you had your booth last year with the pajamas. And so, you know, there's a couple of things that we can do on our end from a staff perspective, but I'd, you know, love to hear other things that we can do that you have suggestions on, or things that you'd like to do. So we'll do the usual, you know, asking for businesses to do things downtown. So whether it's hot chocolate or a coupon or something. But also we had swag bags last year that we gave out on the square. And so Steve and Josh and we had our pre-meeting, we talked about opening that up to all businesses in town, not just the downtown businesses, so that they can have an opportunity to not only have a booth, which is kind of how I think the suggestion from Kristen last year, but also be able to have some materials in the swag bags. So we wanted to see if there were any other suggestions to get businesses involved in the event.
I think anytime you can have an activity, you know, either sponsored by a business, or I remember when we were making wreaths and how fun that was downtown that year. And I'm not sure, I don't know if there, like, businesses might want to sponsor or be part of like craft tables, or, you know, things to bring people in, activities to be done versus just kind of walking through some type of interactive activity.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the wreaths, because I remember you mentioned that last year, Kristen, and I'd love to be able to, I think we did talk to EO last year And I think they were short on wreath stuff, if I remember. But I'm glad you brought that up because when Jesse did it with the flower pot, it was very popular. So,
I wonder, yeah, maybe some of the other floral places in town might want to come together or might want to do their own type of booth in that regard. That would be great.
I might have somebody that would like to come and do some kind of thing like that. She's really good at that kind of, put together your own thing, you take it, make it and take it kind of thing. She's really good at, but she's from Coventry. But she might be interested. I can reach out to her.
Are you doing the trees again this year, Cynthia? Is that the plan?
we hope to, yeah. Yep.
Is there a way that perhaps something could be decorated there too? Like maybe, I don't know, I'm going back to, I watched The Grinch all the time with my kids. So, all the families in town made ornaments and brought it, something to either create there or to bring. So that way people could feel a part of it.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
We could have the EDC circle around the trees and sing Dahu Dore also.
that was my next suggestion, Lane.
Oh, boy. Yeah. We are, of course, I'll say this and something will go sideways, but anyway, we are looking at some better amplification for the singing. So that was definitely some feedback that we got. So
What? I can't hear you.
and that, there you go. There's your amplification right there. So we also are looking, this is a side thing, but to use the partnership use some of its funding for a PA system so we don't have to borrow. That won't solve the issue of fuller amplification, but we're going to have our Brian, who works with us on all this, to come up with something for Winter Welcome. Because I know those little voices are sometimes hard to hear. So
Yes. Excellent. All right. Next on our agenda is the State of Connecticut Cultural District designation. So Cynthia's gonna be able to explain this a lot better than I can, but basically the state is looking to expand the number of cultural districts, which are designated areas. You have to go through an application process in order to do this. And the discussion that we had in our prep meeting is this something that's worthwhile for us to undertake, because it would take staff time and resources. And kind of my question was, what do we get out of it? Is it just like, a feather in our cap, or is there some sort of tangible benefit? And so Cynthia's been doing a lot of research, and it looks like at this point, there may not necessarily be, you don't get like extra funding for it, but that might be the direction it's moving in the future. It may make you eligible for more funding in the future. So there probably is a benefit, although it may not be quantifiable at this time. Cynthia, you want to expand on any of that?
Yeah, just briefly. So this came to us from Nancy. I think I indicated in the email because Diane Nadeau, who's the executive director of the Wyndham Chamber, had spoken to Nancy, and Wendy Burry with the Northeast Southeast Cultural Coalition is the conduit who would work with us. And she, in doing this research, she offered to come and just talk for 15 or so minutes at our October meeting and kind of go over the process. And she said, her words in the email was, it's not a light lift, but it's not a heavy lift either. There are, I think, there's 4 in the state right now: Ridgefield, Torrington, New London, and Wethersfield. Stonington and Eastern Connecticut, Stonington, Norwich, Wyndham, and Killingly are working on forming them. It does take about 6 to 12 months to pull it together. When we did this town did its sustainable CT application, I think that was one of the questions about, because I think I worked originally on that subcommittee on cultural assets. So, that's not hard to come up with a lot of assets. So, I mean, I think we have a good shot based on what we're doing at the town level and certainly at the Yukon level.
Great. So it sounds like something that is probably worth pursuing. I didn't know if anyone else had any thoughts on that one way or the other.
I think it's definitely worth pursuing after talking to Diane. Like Diane said, she would help us as well. And she would come and speak with us all. And that it's not that difficult of a process, that but it's not funding that's today, it's funding that's going to be available down the road. And that's what she's looking for us to get. She said it's about funding down the road. It's not today.
Mhm.
But and it's definitely worth us looking at.
There's been a number of grants that have come up in my tenure here at the EDC, where the grant comes up, but the application window is so short. If you didn't have all your ducks in a row, you're precluded from being able to apply for it. So by getting this designation, it kind of gives you a leg up on everybody else. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I can invite Wendy. I already gave her the date. Because she's actually the person that will sort of facilitate the process. So I think, and I found her very responsive and easy to work with too. So, and then just bringing Diane in as well, for the support, because she said that she could get, as you alluded to, Nancy, support from the chamber, support from Wyndham Arts, excuse me.
I think bringing Diane in is an important part. She's the one that came to me with this and she said, why aren't you guys doing, you need to pursue this. And this is the time to pursue it because funding's going to become available. So I think absolutely bringing Diane in as part of the process would be beneficial.
Perfect. Great. Well, Nancy, thank you for bringing it to our attention, and we'll invite her to our next meeting and take it from there.
Sounds good.
All right. Next, we have subcommittee updates. I don't know that we have met any of the subcommittees, but I know that we have a bunch of them that are working on scheduling meetings. And I sent out an update for the business outreach one just prior to our meeting tonight. And the regulation review committee, Josh sent one out for that one. So we're trying to get them going again, but we'll probably have more for this particular update at our next meeting. Anybody have any questions, comments about subcommittees? All right. Yukon Town collaboration update. We haven't met, the collaboration group has not met since our last meeting. I think our next meeting is coming up in October. And we've set, from there forward, we have a set schedule. So we had a little lull here at the end of the summer, but hopefully we'll get that back going again. I think since our last meeting, there hasn't been any new major news. We had talked already about the autonomous driving test track at the Depot campus. And I think we talked about, there was one other thing. Oh, the sewer agreement got signed. But those are things I think we've already discussed. So I think that's it for that. Cynthia, am I forgetting anything?
I don't think so. Yeah, so I guess to Steve's point, so the Champaign dealership redevelopment, that may be coming to the committee in October after the subcommittee works, in terms of whether the committee wants to weigh in on that permit.
Yes, thank you. And so we got, did we send that out to the whole commission? Or just,
I'm
okay.
sorry. Yeah, Jennifer sent it to the whole commission.
Great. So Lane and I and whoever else, I think, is it Valessa on that, or is it Lucy on the subcommittee as well? I think there's three of us. We're going to meet and kind of go over it, and we'll come back and discuss it at our next meeting with everybody, and we can establish if we have a position or not. But yeah, that's our next topic for discussion, I guess. All right, communications, we had a lot of communications in this packet, a lot of great stories, and cool reads. One thing that I didn't see that I thought I would just throw out there, I don't know if Cynthia or if anyone else saw the article that Forbes did that said Mansfield was the best town to retire in the state of Connecticut. So it was it picked the best town and the runner-up town for every state in the country. And Mansfield was named the best town in Connecticut to retire in, which is kind of cool. And I don't know how I came across that earlier this week, but I met a new client today from the other side of the state. Never met her before, didn't mention it to her, and she mentioned it to me as the reason that she called and wanted to come look for a house in Mansfield was she saw the article in Forbes that said it was the best town to live in. So kind of a cool thing. We get another feather in our cap here in Mansfield. So
I think it's pretty cool as long as they don't live next door to students. Just
it keeps you
saying,
young. It keeps you young. You're only as young as you feel, and if you're going to keggers every night.
right? Shoot.
Any other comments on communications? Anything we should be aware of or we may have missed? All right. I think we're pretty much getting to the end here. Our next meeting is scheduled for October 20th. And we're going to be, it's an organizational meeting, so we're going to just be re-voting on our positions of chair, vice chair, and secretary. So if anyone's interested in any of those, think about it again. And all right, Cynthia, you got to help me out. What's the business networking event? Is that whether or not we want to get involved with the Downtown Partnership on their next social?
Yeah, I think we kind of left that out there. I think the direction, if I recall, is that we were going to do at least one more kind of downtown one and then go from there and see, you know, how we might do something townwide.
Perfect. And does anyone else have anything for the good of the order? I think we made it under an hour. That was great.
It's nice to see Valesa's little guy because he was a lot little smaller last time I saw him.
It's getting bigger, and he appreciates the efficient agenda, so thank you.
You got it. I take a motion to adjourn if anyone wanted to.
Motion.
Kristen, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Valesa. All right, you can all signify your affirmation with a goodbye wave. Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you all very
Good night,
much.
everyone.
We'll see you next month.
Good night.
Take care.
Bye-bye.